Welcome everyone to Generation Dan. We are talking about the quickest way to become fat is learning how to cook, and I'm on it that's for sure. I'm Dino the Genetic Marvel, and with me, as always, is my co-associate Atlas Novak. Hey Atlas, how are you?
That's me. I'm your millennial, and I'm once again wearing the accursed shirts, the yellow one. But I'm not in the room where I get the terrible sunbeam during that time of day.
There you go. And on that note, interesting enough, we have our guest Nina Dicker. Hi Nina, how are you?
Hi,
Perfect
I'm
timing.
good. How are you?
Spectacular. Thank you for asking. Um, yeah, we're talking about cooking, and I just started to cook more. A friend gave me his smoker because he couldn't have it anymore, his loss is my gain. So I've started cooking things, and I'm slowly getting fat again, which is enjoyable. Because I don't really care, and if anything, zombies are going to find me delicious. So it's a
What
good
kind of
riff.
a smoker is it?
It's a small one. It just has a normal little feeder. It looks like the fridge in many, many, many dormitories in universities, like that size. So it's good, and it has an automated thing, so I can sit there and pretend to be knowledgeable with a book while it's doing its thing. And then everyone goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm smoking meat. Excuse me, I have my page to turn." Like a complete douchebag. It's great. It's great. It's wonderful.
See, now
You
I'm
know?
just imagining you walking from room to room with your book, being like, "I'm reading a book. Excuse me, I have a page to turn."
What's up, John? Hope you're watching. And Michael Bryan. Hey, Nina, what are you doing? Two professional eaters and amateur cooks. I'm a professional eater, sir.
Yeah.
Professional. There's nothing amateur about this fatso. Sorry.
Well,
I'll be honest. Sorry, go ahead.
no. I'm also a professional eater and professional cook. So
Like, in all honesty, like that is the one remaining skill that they haven't removed from existence. Like, you don't need to know about your car or electronics or woodworking. Absolutely not. These are used skills. But cooking, yes, or you'll die. And you're like,
Yeah.
they try and make it easier, but then you're like, I ate chili and now I haven't pooped for 4 days. You're like,
Yeah.
that's not cooking.
See, this would be the perfect time to say that this episode of Generation Dan is brought to you by HelloFresh, but it's not. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
dang it.
Hey, we could even be more ridiculous and say it's brought to you by AG1 Greens. Start your morning off like that, and your poop will look even more confusing. That's, let's be honest. That's
Okay, then.
that's exactly what's going to happen.
Oh my god. Wait. Speaking of poop, have have you guys? No, it has to do with food. I promise.
Okay.
Well, poop does, so yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So it's like okay.
It's the
So
end of the story. That's fine.
have y'all? This only happened recently. But have y'all ever eaten or drank? Like, have y'all ever eaten beets or drank beet juice? And then,
Red?
So, what I have had is
Yes.
friends call me in the middle of the night, go, "Hey man, I think I just shit blood." I'm like, "Okay, let's calm down. When was the last time you had beets?" He's like, "I'm Polish. Thank you." I'm like, "That's okay." I'll be honest. I was worried you were going to
I
say
shit in my pants. I have shit in my pants right now. I
that would be
knew he
much
was going
worse.
to do that. God damn it.
that was solid. That was really good. That was quick.
Yeah. One of our fans clipped that and sent it to us after like whatever the episode was we were talking
Yeah.
about. And now he uses it whenever he damn well pleases.
That's so funny.
Listen,
That's
God
perfect.
wills this. It's only reasonable. Me and Atlas are constantly having a battle. He believes that every adult has shit their pants. And I say, nay, that is not true. I think a lot of people have. But I think after puberty, that's on you. It's not, it's something you just have to do. Hey, what's up, Mick? Yeah, no,
Here's
it's
gentlemen and ladies attire. Is that me? Is that?
yeah. Well, you're wearing
Ladies
yellow.
and
That's kind of
gentlemen.
ladylike. It is sundress season though, so
Yeah.
Listen, Nina, I used to be about 500 pounds, and I've lost a human worth of fat. It's about
Wow.
160 pounds. It's not great. This is horrible. I feel like thin people have been going on about how great it is to be thin, and they're liars. They're all liars. So at this point, I'm really just feeling like I want to be fat again. So that's why I'm cooking and smoking meat, because God damn it, it's horrible being small. It's just well, people try and talk to me, and I'm like, who do you think you are? I've eaten sandwiches the size of people. I don't need to be talked to them.
That's basically. My question though is, what kind of meat are you smoking?
So so far, because I am while I look presentable and human, I am a little bit of the retard. So I have to. I'm just now learning what to do. So it's a pork shoulder. I started off with a small one, but it ended up being not enough for everyone. That's what my wife said. She's a liar too, and I think she was just trying to call me fat. So
in her defense, when has anyone ever looked at someone's shoulder and be like, man, that'll be enough to feed a whole family?
Well, that's also fair. So the second one I got from Costco, which Costco, you know, as an old person, the resident old person of the show, it's such a weird situation because Costco has great prices for large things, but a lot of people that can't be trusted with driving a grocery cart, you know, and that's like, and they have cars outside that definitely should not be driving that. You know, it's Michael Bryan said, my pilot got canceled by NBC, and I just found out today, so I intend on shitting my pants on purpose out of spite. That's reasonable. That is a very all-encompassing spite. That's fair.
As you should. As you should.
Well, listen, NBC, that's fair. And if anything, you should take a picture and send it to them. Be like, how dare you? This is your fault. Much like my friend Atlas here said to a lady at Del Taco when he shit his pants, which is a great, great story.
I do love like spiting yourself on purpose. I do. I think that's such a funny concept.
What you cut off your nose to spite your face and like, yes, this is the perfect thing.
Like one time after I'd gotten surgery and I was allergic to the anesthetic or whatever, so I just like kept throwing up and I couldn't even keep down water. And after I threw up like some Gatorade, I went, oh yeah, like to myself, and then went into my kitchen and ate everything I could find, and lo and behold, I threw up again. But I don't do that.
I feel like if you're throwing up that easily and then you go and eat everything, that would just like they could strap you to the back of a rocket and just.
Well, you're trying to set a record at that point. You're like, listen, if we're gonna do this, let's do it right and go all the way. You know, that's. I was in a situation. So I've been careful with my diet and stuff like that, and of course, like, because I'm not like a new fatso. I was molded by fatso, you know. I am the fatso, like of the fatso of history. It was me, you know. So
that
like,
started as Bane and went to the Gladiator. Somehow.
That's right.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'm also built like a cartoon character now because I have a ridiculously large head and giant clown hands that just, you know. So
wait, I have giant hands too.
Good. See, it's wonderful. I can grab things and then they just magically disappear. Just no cup. It's fantastic. It's, you know. So when I do eat bad stuff, I will get a tummy ache because I'm a baby, and then my wife was like, "Oh, is there anything I can do to help? You know, like some lemon water or something like that." And I'm like, maybe if we order chicken fingers, I'll put the chicken fingers after the bad food, and that will solve my problem. Maybe a burger. And that, never works. And she looks at me, she goes, "You're so dumb." And I'm like, "But I love you." And she goes, "Well, at least you got a big wiener now." So I'm like, that's fair. It's a fair exchange. Well, the wiener was always in me, but you know, it was covered with layers of emotions and fat. And now, you know,
wiener was always in you.
Yeah, the wiener. Well, not that way. I'm Greek, not that Greek. I am.
Might as well have that be the episode title. The wiener was always within you.
I'm pretty sure we'll get banned for that. Gatorade is banned here. It fizzes the gusset. I'm not sure what that means, but I kind of want to try it.
Gusset means, is that like your stomach?
Kind of kinky.
Sure. It sounds quite erotic, Mick. So thank you for that. I don't feel like Gatorade and eroticism have gone well in the past. Like if you offer someone a Gatorade, it wasn't good sex. Like that's, you know, if you offer yourself a Gatorade after sex, definitely wasn't. Like, you know.
I mean, I guess I've never been offered a Gatorade after sex. I have eaten an ice cream cone after sex.
Yeah.
That seems like a reward. Like you did a good job.
That was pretty lit. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were both, it was like a hookup, and he was like, I have like, drumsticks, and drumsticks, the brand,
Yeah.
in the freezer. And I said, hell yeah. And we both sat next to each other, butt naked, eating drumsticks just silently. It was great.
That's the best.
That's a great end to a night.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I know. I like still think about it. I'm like, that was good.
Justifiably. That's a great process.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that guy again, or?
I did accidentally date him for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was a drummer, so.
That's fair. I'll apologize, Nina. I'm very confused with the current existence of human beings and their interactions because I'm old. I'm an old fuddy-duddy. It's not. It's weird.
Well, how old?
Oh, because I was so fat, I'm affected by gravity much worse. So I'm like 1,000 years old, kind of like a dog year situation. Really, it's perplexing. No, like I also I'm in Canada, so up here we live in igloos and everything's really weird. And then also I was religious, so I saved myself for marriage, which I still have mixed feelings on because. Like it was good, and I get to like lord it over people with my moral superiority, and then I can still punch them in the face and be like, "I saved myself for marriage, doesn't count," and they can't charge me. It's great. It's laws are different up here. It's fine.
So fizzes the gusset is when you sneeze and fart at the same time.
Yes, hold on. It's like when you sneeze and fart at the same time. I believe that's when your body takes a screenshot, or your wiener goes inside.
Yeah, the body takes a screenshot. I've heard. I haven't heard any other like term for it. I've just heard of like a sniff fart or a sniz fart or something.
Yes, but I feel like a sniz fart is a very hard thing to. We're definitely gonna cut that. The wiener should always be in you. Is like, I feel like that's the motto for 2020. Like the 2020s are, the wiener was always in you. That's it. Tino's is almost older than Golem. Yeah, I definitely look like some sort of fake. I'm not a human being. I'm just a character of existence. It's not.
I don't think Gollum was really that old. I thought the point was that the ring aged him premature. I'll give you my lunch money. God damn it.
I live knowing that I'm a nerd, and then Atlas shows up, and I'm like, I'm still cool. It's fine. It's great. It's fine. So I have a question though. Back to the drumstick issue. Which is superior, the drumstick or the ice cream sandwich? Specifically, the Oreo ice cream sandwich, because that's obviously
so not like a Klondike bar where it's like a red thing.
Well, listen, a Klondike bar is covered in chocolate, but it's a different. Because then you get chocolate fingers, and the sex is already done. That's not gonna. Then you gotta wash up and.
Well, see, I always ate my Klondikes in a very specific way. I'd put it in a bowl, and I'd eat the chocolate shell in its entirety first, and then I would eat the ice cream like a psychopath.
Okay.
So how was it growing up in a cult? That seems.
It's coming from the guy who grew up a Jehovah's Witness.
Hey, it's fine.
It was just let's see how did I. Well, I mean, it was tough growing up with a dad who was also a psychopath, but that's how I learned how to eat Klondike bars.
That's fair.
Like, but what's superior? Honestly, I think. I don't know if it's about superiority. I think it's about maturity.
Fair. That's a fair point.
When you're younger, the ice cream sandwiches are easier. They're cheaper. They're more accessible. But as you get older, more mature, your parents spring for the drumsticks because.
Yes, it's for the mature degenerate. I agree. Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's fair.
You can take it on the go with you. It's easier to take on the go than an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
Then you have the paper and it like melted in the paper.
My wife makes fun of me because I'm a very so as a fatso, I explain to people that I'm like, I don't jiggle like a normal fatso. I thunk because I'm more built of steak and truffle. So what's happened is I will be very orderly, and people are like, "Oh, do you need a napkin?" I'm like, nothing escapes. It's like and it just disappears, right? So like for an ice cream sandwich, I'm like, I will slowly wrap it, hold the wrapper, and I will like. You're like, how did you do that? Because it also happens like faster than light. It's a weird experience, but
he's dense like a dying sun.
100%. That's
Michael Bryan said, "What would each of us be willing to do for a Klondike bar? Worst answers only."
I'd gouge a man's eyes out.
I do that for free. I came from a different time.
I need a Klondike bar to do that.
I think I'd have to do something if there was like an extra, like. If the person I was doing it to was somebody that like I'd want to do that to, like for example, if I could kill Robert Moses as a baby for a Klondike bar, double whammy. You know,
Who's Robert Moses?
Robert Moses is the guy that basically made the suburbs and was like, let's get rid of all the buses and all the trains because I have a boner for cars. And then, fuck that guy.
You don't know who Robert Moses is?
I'm definitely taking your lunch money if I ever meet you, Atlas. When I come to LA, the first thing I do, I was like, I need lunch money. I'm going to Atlas's house and I'm going to take it.
No, I have, you got people on your list, Ronald Reagan,
Oh yeah, Reaganomics, that affected the whole world in such a poor fashion that it seems see, I feel like a Klondike bar would get you to like, hey, don't do that. I'll give you a Klondike bar. That would be more viable. And Mick, you're a bastard. Yeah, Dino can Kung Fu Pen himself into badass. That's fair. That's like I become some sort of Cirque du Soleil performer. I can fit into odd. Like people have tried. It's easy. I'm 6'2", so it's like nothing is hidden in my house. And if my wife gets a little bit, a little too much attitude, I just start putting things on high shelves throughout the house and just go. No,
I gotta start doing that to Katie. That's brilliant.
Well, listen, I am the Greek man is very tricky. So it's you just got to do those kind of things.
That's really funny. I argued with a guy I dated for the longest time. He kept insisting he was 5'9", and I was like, "There's no way you're 5'9". I'm 5'4.5", and we're like almost the same height. There's no freaking way." For years, and then recently I went to the doctors. And they were measuring my height or whatever. And I'm actually 5'6". So it turns out this guy was most definitely 5'9". And I just like hardcore
gaslighting him.
That is not where I thought that was going to go. I thought it was going to be like you finally got the proof. And then no.
He was the doctor and he measured you and you were like, oh, you stop her. Yeah, that's. Oh,
I mean, when I apply for acting gigs, I'll
which is better for a woman to be taller or shorter? What's the?
Well, it depends. Sometimes they'll like put a height where they want under or over. And if they want 5'6" and over, I'm 5'6". But if they want 5'5" and under, I'm 5'5".
That's reasonable.
I
feel like so. No, exactly. You know what people have accused me now is they're like, did you grow? Because I'm like, because I'm not so weighed down with fat. I'm standing straighter and like my posture's gotten better. And people are like, did you grow taller? I'm like, I also have new hair on the top and on my legs. It's quite a weird experience. I may have hit a second puberty and my feet got thinner. Like they're still size 14, but.
When you were like 500 pounds, you didn't have hair on your leg?
No, my legs weren't hairy.
Why?
I believe that just the pants were just shearing off hair as it grew. Whereas now all my pants are baggy and it's a weird experience. Like it's not even a joke. Like it's really weird. My wife makes fun of me because she's Asian. She doesn't have any hair on her. So.
There was no room for your leg hair to grow.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, it's. This is the first time. Like, okay, so I was just in the UK with my wife. We went and saw Elton John. It was a beautiful concert, and he didn't touch my wiener, which I was like, I really thought I had lost enough weight for him to try and touch my wiener, but he didn't. So it's fine. I don't hold it against him. It was a great concert. So, but like, this is the first time where like if I ran out of clothes, I could just buy new stuff, and I'm like I for the longest time in comedy, I tell people that I'm USA petite. And that was at 500 pounds because I could buy clothes anywhere in the US. Anywhere else in the world, I'm screwed. But in the US, I'm like, I could just go down to the store and buy tarpaulin and wrap it and make buttons and fine. But now, like, I actually like bought clothes there, and I'm like, this is a weird experience where I'm not, just suffer, fat boy. Here's a sack of potatoes. Like, it's weird. I kidnapped Hillary Clinton for the constant seduction of her with Bess. Or the Klondike bar, that's fair.
For her constant and the furthering of her bowl cut extravagance. I'm very confused.
That is very detailed, and I don't think Hillary would be game for that. That's
I think there's just a little bit of truth in there. Feels too specific.
Yeah.
Listen, the man likes what the man likes. What are you gonna do?
Amen.
I mean, well, then there goes the question for the week, because I put a little thing in the Spotify polls that I can now we can do it on the YouTube part, which is what would you do for a Klondike bar? Well,
God.
man,
Absolutely.
put that shit in the comments. Yeah.
And also, should we title this episode "The Wiener Was Always in You"? Because let's be honest, it's a fair,
Too
it's a
late
fair
for that.
question.
No, that'll get a shadow ban then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm
Much
pretty
like your name, Nina.
Oh,
True, you're gonna get shadow banned anyway. I'm so sorry.
that's okay.
What the hell? We're already in it.
It's are you kidding? Please. That's we were talking about it before because I did a few shows with a guy whose name I think he's in Missouri maybe or Illinois. I don't know. One of those places where you're like, oh, you just drive through, you don't visit. And his last name was Lynch. And he was like, I can't get a license plate. I can't get user IDs with my name. Like emails are an issue. And I was like, also, you're a bit racist. He's like, that also factors in. I'm like, well, fair enough. At least you know. But yeah, that's got to be having the last name Dicker is also too like there's gonna be people who are like, I heard your last. You don't want to talk to that person as soon as they start that conversation. You're like, you just get the fuck away from me, weirdo. Because
It's crazy, and it's really hard growing up with a last name Dicker and like also being a slut. It just kind of
okay.
It was tough. It was hard out there.
Yeah, well, listen.
I mean, I ruining the name, I guess. So
as one should. Listen, I'm Dino. I'm big as a dinosaur. It's totally reasonable. That's a fair conclusion. And I grew up when Flintstones was at its peak of everyone loving it. And I had a lot of violence in my youth. It's fine. I'm big. I'm like 6'2". I'm like, I just grab little people and throw them around. Like,
it's just funny now when people try to make jokes because I post YouTube shorts. I saw someone on here say I should be a comedian. I am a comedian. Surprise. So I'll post YouTube shorts and some like troll will comment, usually it's about how I'm fat or how I'm not funny or whatever, which I'm like, yeah, for real. Sure. But sometimes they'll be like, oh, your last name is Dicker, or they'll try and say something where they think I haven't heard all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I just crave some creativity. Like, can you just be unique for like once?
Hey, Atlas, shrug for me.
That person should get punched in the face, though.
Yeah.
If they say that, just immediately punch in the face, or like Nancy Kerrigan, just like bat to the knees. Something they should suffer for the rest of their life for doing it. Like I agree with you because if you can out fat guy joke a fat guy, I lose my funny card. Like that's been the biggest concern that with all the fat that I've lost, that I lost my funny. But so far, I am still fat enough to be funny. So it's worth fun. Yeah, but definitely, yeah. If you're not going to bring your A game, just shut your goddamn yapper. Like just absolutely. Yeah. Well, come on. Look, it's hard enough to be original and produce content, right? Just as it is. So the idea that someone's gonna be like, "Hey, your last name's funny. Thanks. Eat shit and die, loser." It's very confusing.
Did you ever get anything off of Bletsus before, or is that like?
Listen, my last name is 7 letters. That is one of the shortest Greek names in all of the universe, and people still will fuck it up constantly, right? So
I'm
the
surprised
reason
there's no Opolis in there somewhere, which means like the
trust
city
me.
of blank, right?
And that's why like I went by Dino the Genetic Marvel, which people get so angry at because they're like, shit, that's a good name. I'm like, yeah, you know why? Because when I started comedy, I was like, I'm a Big Mac away from 400 pounds and I have no titties. And like, listen, I'm no scientist. That shit's amazing. And now that I've lost weight, like now I'm at a very, very modest, even if not sundress worthy, 290 pounds and still no titties. I'm like, listen, that's amazing because fat guys who lose their weight end up with little pointers, and it's horrible.
You're 55 pounds away from being me.
Why are you so fat, Atlas? That's ridiculous. Because we're about the same height, right?
I'm 6 foot. I'm 6'1". So
yeah, with your hair, you're 6'2". That's fine.
Yeah,
I have no hair and I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
We're all fat then, according to the men on YouTube.
Yeah.
Listen, the men. You know what?
I got called an earth pig, which I'm a little confused. I'm like, aren't
earth pig?
Like as opposed to air pig, fire pig,
water pig,
water pig. Like what happened?
Yeah, it's just a pig, right? Like that's not.
I'm just
Only
like,
the Avapig, master of all the 4 pig elements, could stop him.
exactly. Is he gonna
Well,
switch
what about a fire pig? That sounds barbecuing. That's a little fat guy of a joke,
Yeah.
right? Like
That just
that's
sounds
what
like a
people know you're
Pokemon.
fat. You're a fire pig. You're like, oh, he's
Yeah.
fat. That's the joke he made because he's so fat, right? That's why, like, yeah, like one of our previous co-hosts, I called him a land pirate because he had got a new haircut, and I was like, "You look like a land pirate." And it's like, I don't know what a land pirate is, but he definitely looked like a land pirate.
Was
that's
that
for sure.
to Caleb or to Cole?
That was to Caleb because
That was
remember
to
he had he had like a mustache. And it was
Yes.
an okay mustache, but I'm like, also,
Yeah.
it's 2020. Stop it. There's,
No,
mustaches are only for ladies now.
I loved Caleb. He was great. I hope
He
he's-
is, but he's also very small, so he's like a bird. It's great. It's this is Well, we live in a weird time. My last name is Herbst. A lot of people assume that I automatically have.
I haven't heard that shit before. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good burn, man. Like Herbst still burning. What's up? Like come on.
have herpes?
Yeah. Well, listen. It's like trusting somebody who can spell gonorrhea on the first try. You're like, absolutely not, right?
100%.
Listen. It's the warning signs are right there in the name. So
Diarrhea too. Throw
Well-
that on the pile. Yeah.
that's fantastic. So
I mean,
let's talk about cooking.
doesn't say is if he has herpes or not.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, Michael Bryan. You have not confirmed nor denied. So I remember saying a joke how people were like, "Oh, I'm a little bit autistic." I'm like, "That's not how autism works." I'm like, I'm like, you can't just be like, "I have like a dash of the Downs or like a sprinkle of the herpes." You're like, no, that's the gift that keeps on giving. Doesn't work that way, you know.
What do you mean? It's a spectrum. The fuck are you talking about?
You either are or you aren't. I do not. I confirm. There you go. Listen.
Touchism.
There are a lot of people who are just stupid, and they're like, "Oh, I'm a little autistic." No, you're just an idiot. That's all. Like,
I think
have
if you
to
say I'm a
embrace.
little autistic, then yes, that's not. Usually, people who are on the spectrum go, "I'm on the spectrum."
Yes, but that's the thing is the spectrum is not and the spectrum of autism. Like that's not like is that a spectrum? Yes, it's a varying degree of how fucking weird you're going to be in this conversation versus a normal person who's a tolerable amount of weird, right? Like some people, you have to know how you're going to deal with this issue. If say, "Oh, I'm a little autistic," they're like, "Okay, here's number one. This is going to be, hey, I think we should end this conversation." And they go, "Oh, okay," and they walk away. And you're like, "Okay." Ah. The other ones are like, "I guess we're best friends now." You're like, "Oh, you're not autistic. You're just a fucking creeper." Which that happens, right? Joey Edible, sorry guys, was at the Walmart. Well, listen, family reunions are tough, Joey. That's all.
Nina, that's the guy who did the shit my pants clip.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
legit.
stunning.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
a guy.
He's listen. There's savagery, and then there's savagery from Ohio, and Joey Edibles is savagery from Ohio, and that's listen. It's when you have to have that much train derailments in one place, you just learn to suffer and survive. It's a key thing.
When you breathe in that many chemicals,
Listen, I was on his show a couple days ago where we were talking about the idea. He was like, we should blame Canada for all this smoke. And I'm like, technically it was French people. They're ridiculous. You can't. And also, too, it's nice and bright up here. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize profusely for that, Atlas Bro, but it never stops making me laugh. I've already played it once. It's gonna happen again, I'm sure. Because we're talking about food, which means we're gonna end up talking about poop eventually again. That's just how life is. It's
easy one then. What is like your worst cooking mishap?
Well, okay. I feel like I haven't really had a truly terrible cooking mishap, but I have had some really awful baking mishaps.
That counts. Yeah.
Just because with cooking, I feel like cooking is fun because I feel like you can just really screw around and kind of add things or take things out or add a little more of something or a little less. And it's always fun to experiment and have fun with that. Baking is a science. So if you try to do that, it's not going to be good. Like if you don't add eggs to brownies, do you know what happens?
It's easier just to eat the marijuana with a spoon.
Exactly. No, it's because apparently the eggs hold everything together. Oh. So the oil and the water separate from the brownie.
Oh,
So it's just
So it comes with its own dip. That's fine. That's
it's some sludge under some oil and some water. That's what happens when you want to. I never did that.
Yeah.
But I think the most terrible mishap I had was my mom has this like fantastic family recipe for making whoopie pies. Do you guys know
Yep.
what whoopie pies are?
yes.
It's
Fat guy.
basically it's like
Let's calm down. Yeah.
come on. It's these two like cake it's cake basically in a cookie shape,
Yeah,
and
okay.
there's like a whipped cream in between, so it's like a cookie cake.
Oh, like macaroons, kind of, or
Larger.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Nina, for his insolence. That's, you know what? Just go to a store. Just go to a store. You live in the United States, the king of snack treats, sir.
Yeah.
okay,
Go on, please.
all right.
So my mom made an amazing whoopie pie. It was like the best chocolate cake like recipe with like this really light whipped cream. Everybody loved them. I was making a batch to take to class because it was my birthday. And so I was supposed to add baking powder. No,
Oh,
I was supposed to add baking powder, and I accidentally added baking soda. And I was supposed to add a teaspoon and a half, but I added a tablespoon and a half,
Oh,
or something along those lines. It was too much of the wrong ingredient.
yeah.
And so as I'm pulling the cake part out of the oven, the chocolate whoopie pies, like the chocolate part, is like, have you ever seen an oil spill? Like how it's like,
Yeah.
it was like iridescent. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's not right. So I bit
You're
into,
magical.
I bit into one, and you couldn't taste chocolate. You couldn't taste anything besides baking powder,
Oh my
which
God.
is
Jesus.
not very good.
No, it's
No.
Not a very good flavor. And so we lived in the woods, kind of. So usually, if my mom had a cooking disaster, something she really didn't like, and we had a lot of, we'd dump it in the
Yeet.
back, and the
Yeah.
animals would eat it. We dumped the whoopie pies in the bag, and they were there for weeks. Animals would eat them. Like I watched a deer sniff this pile, and just
Oh,
like,
hell no.
walk
Nuh-uh.
away.
Listen,
I would rather that hunter kill Bambi's mom again than
Yeah.
eat what I'm about
Like,
to eat.
that is by far one of the worst experiences where you're like, just give it to an animal. And animal's like, fuck that.
you.
And you're like, it's not even for the beasts of the field.
Yeah.
Shit, man, they eat poop. They eat their own poop
They
more than once. Like, that's a real thing. Yeah, that's
Ugh.
listen, and whoopie pies. The fact that you guys have a recipe for a good whoopie pie is impressive, but like a whoopie pie is hard because it's already such a dark color that like you can burn it and it's completely fucked. Hold on 1 second, because we have a bunch of comments. I think none of us could have possibly been this funny if bad shit wasn't our only form of learning. It's kind of life. That's a fair, yeah. It's. I feel like that just goes.
I
up.
have shit in my pants right now.
Right, that's just a fair. Okay, and do you know what was the best you had here in the UK, and what gave you splash for it? So, this is the thing. So normally, on my weight loss journey to try to long-term retire from being a fatso, I basically eat like one meal a day. So in the UK, I was eating 3 meals a day, and I didn't shit for the first 4 days. So it's like, I really didn't have a proper shit until I came home. And I'll tell you, thank God for having a fan in the bathroom. But
Wow.
that, I believe, was caused by hot dogs in Iceland. That's to be clear. And it's okay. That's hot dogs in Iceland. They're lamb. They're delicious. However, whew, they kind of stripped the walls on their way out.
So
My
crazy.
worst one was attempting to bake cookies that made mine and Jen's cat disappointed and run away. You know, bad. So, yeah, that's totally. Yeah, it licks its own
So-
assholes and hates your food. That's fair.
Yeah, so
I thought
same
he disappeared, and I was like, "What's the cat?"
Magic cat.
same concept with the deer, huh?
Yeah, that's like also like if you have like fast food or like junk food in your house, and you like it can't be that bad. Take one, leave it outside. If it disappears, eat it. If it doesn't disappear, just throw out the whole rest of it. No, it's not for consumption. Joey, do you know, is it true you volunteered at Heathrow to get strip search and all 8 agents declined? Actually, when I went through, they took my bag and I was like, oh, did I forget to take out a liquid? And he's like, no, we just got to swab it. I'm like, that's cool. I'm like, honestly, it's probably because I'm so good looking. And he's like, you are. And I'm like, well, I lost 160 pounds. Now I'm gorgeous. My wiener's big. It's great. And he's just like, did you really lose 160? I'm like, yeah. And the wiener got huge.
The wiener is within me. And,
listen, that's honestly, the power was always inside of me. It
was within you, and now it's no longer within you because you lost.
Well, listen, scientifically, it's 1 inch for every 35 pounds. That's a lot of multiples of 35 pounds. And life's happy. It's fine. So
it was inverted, I guess.
Why?
There's a joke. I have sent no less than 3 people to the hospital off my edibles. Well, Atlas was there live, and like, if you just walk into Joey, where Joey does his live streams, he basically it's so permeated in the furniture and walls. Like, if you just go, "Hey, man, what's up?" You just face first.
Contact high immediately.
Yeah. So I look forward. I'm probably going to take a bus down to Ohio in the next week or so, or a couple weeks, depending if my wife allows me to leave. And then going to go cause some shenanigans in Ohio. Like, there hasn't been a train derailment in a little while, and I think I could take one on. Just give a little boom, belly buck to the train. It's a reasonable thing.
Spider-Man on the train tracks. Yeah.
I will say that edible comment did remind me when I was in college. There's this one girl who was basically taking culinary classes and also making edibles. And so she'd come to our parties to sell edibles, but they'd be like caramel banana nut muffins edibles. Like something super intricate, and they always taste amazing. But the issue with me is like, I've got a wicked sweet tooth. And so she'd hand me one of these like beautiful, delicious muffins that's also an edible. And she'd be like, only take a few bites. It's pretty strong. But it would be gone because the whole thing. I was like, you can't tell me to take 3 bites of a muffin.
And she's like, hey, black and white cookies, lemon meringue pie, only take a few bites. You're like, dude,
exactly.
Weed lemon meringue pie. Oh.
Yeah, I'm like, get out of here. I'm going to eat the whole thing and then I'm going to die. So.
Like a good Christian.
My cousin has these black and white cookies that she made one time where like all the cousins met together in like 2007. And I've been chasing that high since then. And
that's fair.
Like, she's made them since then, and it wasn't as good as it was when I was in 7th grade. I don't know how. Sorry.
Thanks, Michael Bryan. Have a good one. Thank you for showing up. And I hope Nina will come back. She's very versatile and enjoyable to be around. So
glad you don't have herpes. Congratulations.
I talk to Michael Bryan on almost a daily basis, and I'm going to bring up herpes every day now, just because he did it. It's not. I think that's not on me.
That's one of my favorite skits I do with my friend. It's just like when we meet new people, just randomly being like, "Oh my god, how is that like fungus that was growing on your genital region?"
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Like, oh my god, we're not supposed. Oh shoot, sorry. Just like constantly bring up weird stuff in front of strangers.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good way for like stranger danger, right? Like when it's a weird. So I was raised. Granted, I look like some sort of maybe a character from Beauty and the Beast, like furniture that's come alive, kind of thing, right? Like I'm quite large, and
I'm an ottoman. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking armoire, but yeah,
sure, yeah,
you know. Good. Yeah. And then now I'm like a really big grandfather clock. You know, I was an armoire. Now I'm like, it's too big for a clock, but fancy. You know, something like that. It's a lot of fancy decorations. But it's like I would never approach a woman because I'm like, yeah, if I approach her, she's cornered. It doesn't matter if she's standing in the middle of a room. What is she gonna do? Run around me? Come on, it's ridiculous.
That's true.
It's not. That's why people are like, I'm gonna go talk to those girls. I'm like, no, please don't do that. So,
Everyone knows if you're over 6 feet and over 200 pounds, you're technically a sex trafficker. So,
listen, we all have to have careers these days, and that's
the rules. So,
I was outside of Mike a couple weeks ago, and like hanging out with 2 of the comics, and then this one comic would keep like walking up to every girl who passed by, and me and the other guy were like, "Fucking stop!"
Yeah.
They don't let them go on about their day. Like he was this little Asian guy who was like running up to the women. So
Yeah.
like,
Well, he's just running the numbers though, right? Like he's
Yeah.
like, eventually someone's gonna love me, and you're like, no, but maybe you have money. It's fine.
But also we were like, fucking stop. He was like a little hummingbird. He just never ran out of energy. He was like running around. Yeah.
My favorite thing after shows is when guys come up to me, and sometimes they'll come up to me and look me in the eyes and be like, I loved your set, and I'd be like, thank you so much. Or they come up to me and be like, I loved your set, just like obviously staring not into my eyes, and I'm like, oh, sick. There was one time this guy came up and pulled that, but I'd seen him take a phone call and not come in for the entirety of my set, and I was like, oh yeah, what was your favorite part of the set? He was
That's
like,
how to do it.
oh man, I don't know, it was all really good. And I was like, that's so crazy, you heard it from outside the venue. That's so awesome.
While you were on your phone. Yeah, that was fucking great. Good job, dude. Yeah.
That's like, in all honesty, that's weird, right? Like people are just stupid when they're trying to interact with people and they just lie, right? Like,
yeah.
Why?
I don't get it. I'm brutally honest, which sometimes hurts me in certain situations.
Sure.
But like, sometimes if I'll have to leave early and I met a comic and I haven't seen them go up yet, I'll be like, hey, listen, I have to bounce, but it was really great talking to you. Can I follow you? Do you post content?
Right.
Where do you do shows? Am I going to see you again? Because, I like making friends, and I feel bad if I can't see somebody's set and I just talk to them for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie and be like, oh my God, great set, by the way. Like,
yeah. Weird.
That's LA for
it
you.
could be terrible. They could have said a bunch of racist shit, and I'd be like, oh, awesome set. I really support it.
Yeah.
Yeah, LA, you got a 50-50 shot for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like realistic, no, but it's not just LA. It's people don't really understand the artistry of public speaking, let alone comedy, right? Like just being able to talk in front of people is one skill set. Then also being comedic and intertwined in that is a whole other thing. But like realistically, people are like, I'm edgy. I'm like, no, you're just an asshole. Like there's a comedian right now who's running for mayor of the city of Toronto, which I'm like, that's a horrible idea. But he does a lot of content based around a not well put together Asian accent. And I'm like, so I have an Asian wife, and she was born in the UK. So technically I colonized myself. It's a great system. But the whole thing is that it's like, hey man, at least do a good accent. Like don't stand there and now you're
on a
just
scale
racist.
from like 1 to Mickey Rooney and Breakfast at Tiffany's. How bad are we talking here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
about
that
there.
reminds me of Sam. What's that comedian's name? Sam Morril. Sam Morril is fantastic in that he can make some really edgy jokes.
Yeah.
But then if anyone ever calls him out, or he'll have it in the set, he is usually more educated in any culture that he jokes about than anyone in his audience.
But that's what you have to do too, right? Like that shows
work.
Yeah. So John, I just texted my wife because I'm going to show you a picture about a suit of armor that will work with that. That's because so you know, my pug is tongue punching its phone. Well, thank you. Listen, if anything, you should get a YouTube channel for that, Mick, because people want to know.
That's true.
That's just how it is. That's a fair. Listen, we live in very mysterious times.
Dino, did you ever get like your cooking mishap or?
Oh no! So, in all honesty, I'm the youngest of 5 kids. So, all the recipes of how to cook that I learned are to cook for a small battalion, right? Like that's right. And having a Greek mother, measurement is you put this much, and I'm like, what? I have hands that are rival Mickey Mouse. That's not a thing, It's so it's kind of like it was originally for a small battalion, but then I used my hufta of this mats, right? And now it's for a full invading force. So I would make like a lasagna, and then I'm like, I have lasagna for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next week and a half. And me being fat, I'm like, I'll do it in 3 days. Which like, that's again, got backed up for that. But the worst had to have been it wasn't necessarily that the food turned out bad, it was the whole situation. So we made a turkey, and it was me and my roommate, he's my best friend. I've known him since grade 6. We don't live together anymore. Now I'm married, and she's a real person and everything. So
She works at Nintendo. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, she's on a business trip.
Yeah.
So
she lives in Canada. Wait.
So that's great. If you're doing a turkey, it was Thanksgiving, so we were going to do a turkey and invite our old friends over. If you did a turkey, you should put bacon on it, and that will help keep it moist. So what we did was we took an entire pack of bacon and wrapped the whole thing, so it kind of looked like Optimus Prime's because the wings were wrapped. So it's kind of like a snouted Optimus Bacon Prime with then this, which was fine. But then the tray we had had a leak, so all of the juice fell out.
Oh,
No.
Worse was, let's open a bottle of wine. And we were 2 men who weren't fancy. So we had a bottle, and I was like, listen, we don't have a bottle opener, so I'll just jam it in. And I was wearing a white shirt, so I just pushed it in. I pushed it in, and then got BAM! Shot right in the chest.
oh my
So
God.
dinner was me with like a bloodshot chest wound, and then no gravy. So, but the turkey did stay moist. So, like there was failures, but an eventual success. So,
Never heard of sabering. Oh wait, no, you can only do that with bubbly wine.
let's be honest. It wouldn't go well. I would definitely cause more shenanigans than they're worth, right? And that's just a thing. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm trying to load this picture because it's fucking cool.
Mine is a tie between. I was in a cooking class as a kid, and we were baking bread, and I sliced my finger. You see on the point that, with the serrated knife. That was more like, oh my God, blood. But that's you can bandage that up. The worst one was in college. I watched that Bob's Burgers episode where he tries to spatchcock the turkey, which is you like crush it from the top, so it does this and then cooks more evenly.
Yeah.
The problem was that I tried to spatchcock my turkey that I was making with my friends, and it launched the turkey out the open window.
Oh my
Like,
God.
It's just a little wet. It's still good. It's still good. Kind of like
Into the fucking bushes. It was ruined on Thanksgiving.
I bet you could have rinsed it. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
A little bird flu. It's cool.
I'll be honest for a second. I thought
Yeah.
you were going to say you cock-spatched it instead of spatchcocked it, and that just
Cox matched it is different, I think.
so. With regards to imagine being the animated suit of armor, so this was also on vacation. It's the me with a fat guy armor, which
Hey.
yeah,
Wow.
it's if I was
Is that
gonna
a
have
King
armor,
Henry
it'd be fat
VIII
guy armor.
Or
No, that was at the Harry Potter tour. We finally went to the Harry Potter thing. There are a lot of weird people, man. Like there were people with kids, and kids are weird anyways. And you're like, you're not allowed to kick them in public anymore. Is my understanding? Even if you made them, that's stupid, but fine. But then right. Like if you made them, like you bought it, you break it, it's fine. Whatever, that's your option. You eventually have to pay for it. Fine. But there were a lot of adults that need more hobbies or love or sadness. I'm not sure. There was a definite imbalance in their personal experience, and
Disney adults.
yeah,
I think Harry Potter adults and Disney adults are different, but in like the same vague area.
Yeah.
Well, it's like one is definitely a pedo, and the other one is probably a pedo, right?
I think they care less about like wanting to spend time with the kids from Harry Potter, more about wanting to be the kids in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yes, those are the ones that are probably less pedo. The Disney ones, you're like, stay away from my kids, weirdo.
I am from Southern California, sir. I am surrounded by Disney adults.
That's just California. Like, let's be honest. It's You were born there. It's different situation. Like you're like, that's normal.
I went
It's
to
not
UC
normal.
Riverside. Like so many people had like the yearly passes and would go there on the weekends. Yeah. Katie's family is all into Disney. It's not really my
Listen,
bag.
and so I think a family that enjoys Disney is okay. It's when it's
Yes.
just like an individual person where you're like, hey man, let's
No,
go talk about
I
something.
think it's all like a family thing, which is fine. But it's like some of the people at UC are Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Even family things, I'm like, you should stop. You should stop that. It'll like, it's gonna sink to the genetics. It's gonna be weird.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like, and that's the thing is like you don't want to squash someone's imagination. And like I've been telling people,
I'll squash.
Don't you dare show this one. This is disgusting. Don't do it. I see it. Don't do it.
I didn't do nothing.
Okay,
I didn't do
good.
nothing. I swear to God. Yeah, that's definitely
That's
Mick T.
disgusting.
You're a bad person, Mick T. Let's be very clear, okay? That's not because you're English, but because you treat yourself poorly, sir. So, but realistically, it's.
Oh, no.
Nina, your face just that's
Oh.
quality. Everyone is young at some point, and that's shenanigans, right? That's fine. It's
J.K. Rowling or Mickey Mouse are gonna shut this stream down.
it's,
Be like,
well,
you better not.
it's for
I
one
shit
reason.
my pants.
It's one of the something's gonna cause it. That's only fair.
That's like the only sound clip you ever use anymore.
Listen,
We
there are
have
a lot. We do have others like
It's my ass kicking outfit, bitch.
that's a reasonable, but like we haven't really talked about stuff to really,
I'm surprised
controversial.
they never came up during the fashion episode.
That's
True.
metal in your lungs.
That one
Also.
we've used.
We have, right? And that's but at at all times, the top
I
tier
shit my pants.
is just that's a winner chicken dinner. Like it's how do you
Like, how do you not? Like,
right? I bring that up in conversation. I'm like, I know a guy who shit his pants. Like as an adult. And he's like, I was an adult. I'm like,
I feel like every person you meet that has shit their pants has the opinion that every adult has shit their pants. And the people who haven't are like, yeah, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's
yeah, I agree with you, but it's the same adage where like, how come people who drink urine look like they drink urine? You're like, yeah, that's definitely it's
I didn't even know that was an adage, but okay.
yeah, no, man, the pandemic was really hard on people. Like, let's be honest, it was people suffered a
Talk
lot.
about a sourdough starter. Jesus Christ.
Well, it's definitely sour. That's just hey, man. Some people are just weirdos.
definitely sour. That sounds a little objective of you to say.
Listen, I'm a
That would just
scientist.
be
I just
drink more water.
I ate some asparagus. I wanted to smells sour. It's fine. It's it's not like I sampled it. That's
Like
too far.
wine, you're kind of basing it off the aroma.
Just get your nose just right in there and that listen.
Sour notes.
Even like when you hear about that kind of stuff, like from like people are like, oh yeah, people piss on each other. You're like, that's not erotic. That's just disgusting. Like, I don't. Not to shame people out there, but like maybe talk to somebody first before you say I'm going all in on that. It's like it's
100%. I'll shame you. I think it's weird. No, I feel like it wouldn't be arousing to be smelling like ammonia. Is that what it is?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like,
yeah. Well, listen, that's the real thing. Is like, hilariously, we started off talking about food, and like if you cook for someone, like you're definitely going to touch someone's genitals. Maybe your own, but someone's going to get touched. But like if it smells bad, like we went once. My wife wanted to try a new ice cream store that was downtown Toronto, so I was like, okay, fine. We walked in, and they had just made a batch of durian ice cream. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with durian. Yeah. So
yeah,
I walked in there and I went, oh, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with this place? It smells like asshole. And someone's like, we just made durian ice cream. I'm like, you have to burn this place to the ground. Interestingly enough, 6 months later, it did shut down. I believe it's because it smelled like durian still.
Wait,
so
it means I showed up in my Grim Reaper after be like, you make durian ice cream, you burn.
yeah, well, like, that's
Nina.
not, you can't wash that out, right? Like it's you got to burn it.
Yeah, there's this retail space near my mom's house that never stays open longer than 6 months. So I've always joked about like wanting to show up in a Grim Reaper outfit next time something opens there, be like, you've just bought a cursed retail space.
Oh my god.
Well, it's only like it's maybe
Durian
one of
ice
them.
cream, you burn. Yeah.
Durian. I have friends that are like, yeah, you just freeze it and it's fine. I'm like, no, it's not. It's disgusting. And they're like, no, you have to. It's an acquired taste. I'm like, where do you acquire that kind of taste, there, friend?
Yeah.
And he's like, trying it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think you hung out with McT. That's what you did. Just inappropriate.
I guess a good last question would be like, what's the thing
Let's
that you're
wrap this up.
good?
These people are gross.
Like the thing that like you're the best at cooking, where you go, I will make my famous blank.
Honestly, I don't know, because I'm really good at cooking.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like overall, I mean, any sort of protein, I'll cook the shit out of. Like I don't really do vegan stuff.
Mhm.
Can't do. I
Oh,
can't
you're
do
a great person. Look at you. You should run for president or something.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm also just like allergic to a lot of things that vegans eat, so it just like makes sense that I can't do vegan. But
I'm
yeah,
sorry with the savagery of like, yeah, I'm allergic to vegans because they're pieces of shit. That's just,
Darren,
I like it. I respect it so much.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, like a bone-in rib roast. Like I can make a meat
Okay.
those with some like horseradish sauce. I make some good. Oh my god, what are they? Like honey mustard and garlic chicken thighs. Those are bomb.
I just gained like 4 pounds with this
I
conversation.
know. Just
It's
listening
fantastic.
to that, that sounds
Fucking
delicious.
hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one time Katie and I went out for dinner, and I got a steak, and it came with like a little thing of horseradish, and it all went at once. But like you try to do a little, and all of it came out at once.
Oh.
So
Happens.
out of spite, I just tried to eat the whole thing, and it's like, have you ever seen the American Dad episode where he tries to eat all of Roger's horseradish, and he's like, I blew out my rectum? It's that basically.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I thought I could muscle through it. I didn't know.
Well,
Sometimes your mouth can handle more than your butthole can.
Yeah.
always. I feel like that's always. It's like people who like spicy food, they know. That's fine. It's the best I ever like. I make my mom's recipe tzatziki, which I will shove in people's face, and they are like, "Oh, I guess that's okay." I'm like, "Don't fucking talk to me." I'm like, "It's your mom makes yogurt, you piece of shit." And like, there's
Get in that commercial with Jamie Lee Curtis. It's yogurt.
listen, that there's a certain amount of respect you get from having good tzatziki as a Greek person. Okay, like just, and when you say my mother is the best, and they go, "Oh, okay," you're like, "I will bring you some." And they try and they're like, "Oh, I guess that's okay." I'm like, "Don't fucking lie to my face, you piece of shit." Okay, I am the best. Don't question it. So,
What is
'cause
the best
people-
thing to dip in your mother's tzatziki sauce?
it doesn't matter, man.
Doesn't matter.
Like it's actually no, it's so. I mean, you know how people will make tzatziki and you'll see like they have dill and stuff. No,
Mhm.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's you're covering your lack of character and probably the fact that you're going to burn for your sins immediately. There's and also too when people are like, "Oh, I used 1 clove of garlic," and I'm like, "Get the fuck out of my house,
Yeah.
you piece of shit." Okay, it's like what? No, this much. You put this much. That's how much garlic you put. So
Small battalion. Yeah.
yes, it's invading force. It's but I think D-Day would have gone even faster with the tzatziki farts of they would gone just So, but the best compliment I ever got was I make a lasagna that like it's not even fancy. Like I mix a few pre-made sauces. Then like I cook some meats and stuff. I use like ready baked noodles. People are like, "You have to make fresh noodles." I'm like, "Get fucked." I'm like, "You don't have to." I'm like, "Look at me. I don't need that in my life." So, but then I'm like, I'll bring it to a person's house, but I'll use like 7 different cheeses. So like it's like one of the the one-time use tins like that, the big one, the 24-inch, right? Like a big fuck, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll make that, and it cost me about $100. $100 like in 2008. So it's probably like it's probably like 190, if not 250 right now. But
Yeah.
that
That's
I would-
use the self checkout to your advantage. That's how much that costs.
Yeah, I've never paid for like a greeting card since like they brought those things in. Like that's
Yeah.
fine. So, but like I brought that, and I'm like, it needs to go in the oven for like 40 minutes, and it'll be fine. Like everything's already been cooked and stuff, but now like it just got to gooify. So that I brought it once, and they were like, just everyone stopped talking, and I'm like, yeah, that's right, fat guy rules. And then I brought it a second time. And one of my wife's friends, who's a foodie, is this a thing? Yes. And she goes, you know how you remember how something tastes, and then you try it again, and it doesn't taste that way? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, not yours. Your lasagna tastes exactly. I remember. And I was like, fuck yeah. I'm like, that's it. I'm out. I'm never making this again.
You pulled off what my cousin couldn't with the black and white cookies.
Kinda, yeah. Like and like this, honestly, that was one of those compliments where I'm like, I think my wiener just grew like 7 inches. Like it's like just boom, like just it was
It's like the porn version of the Grinch.
kind of, yeah. Like
would make me fully erect.
Absolutely, you definitely get a lady boner. There's no question, right? Like that's like
a full throttle boner. No
yeah,
lady boner.
no. I don't want to. This is a good episode. I don't want to cancel it, and the response to that is 100% cancelable. So, so
you have to render my boner. It could just be a boner.
Oh
don't assume the gender of my boner.
We earn our explicit tag here on Generation.
Yeah, with quality entertainment, spread the word, everybody.
Yeah. I think mine is such a dud compared to you guys because I'm comparatively not a good cook. First off, my fiance went to culinary school. I am not beating that ever.
Oh,
yeah.
never.
Yeah, no.
But I'm really good at doing scrambled eggs properly, which my mom, who is a good cook, sucks at. My mom is
really
at eggs. They're all like
the fuck up eggs.
They're always like gray, and like she cooks them for too long. I think.
And they're rubbery.
Like immediately in the fire or something. What? How does that?
No, just she's bad at them. Me, like I have my own way of doing it, and then I saw the Gordon Ramsay way
with the cream and everything. Yeah,
very good.
Yeah.
My way of doing it is high heat, and you beat the crap out of it for 10 seconds. It's done.
Yeah. And if you add a lot of butter,
yeah,
that's
listen.
Definitely.
That's the way.
The communists made us start using seed oils. You got to go back to taro and pig fat and butter.
Oh, I love doing
the
bacon in the pan first, and then use the fat from the bacon for the eggs. Yes.
Listen, that will get a cannibal into heaven if they do that. That's just the rules.
That's the okay. So I have a weird taste for turkey bacon just because my mom's an NPR hippie and did turkey bacon instead of regular bacon.
Your mom has done so much evil to you.
Yeah, I still like regular bacon, but I'm just saying I have a taste for turkey bacon also, and that's the downside to turkey bacon. It's got no fat on it, so you can't do the thing.
It's just call it turkey strips. There's strips of turkey that you make in a pan. If they're not she makes bad eggs and then gives you turkey bacon. I'm surprised you lasted till lunch, ever. That's it. Just
I mean,
Jesus.
You say that, and 55 pounds till Atlas. Make it happen.
If I get smaller than you, Atlas, I'm gonna make fun of you a lot.
Oh yeah, you have.
And I'm gonna flick your titties. I'm just. What's up? Sit so. That's
Once you pass tier 35, you've made it. That's
I might just be ribs and dick at that point. I don't know. It's that might be too much, right? I'm a pretty broad guy.
So am I.
You might as well have an eating disorder at that point. That would be.
I mean, Nina, you've seen me in person. I'm a fairly big person. Yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty tall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I used to be a one circle, and now I'm multiple circles, like a modern flesh snowman, something like that. It's fine.
I feel like you'll really know once you get into that rectangle realm. No, you don't ever see yourself making it though.
No.
I probably would kill myself. That's too much. I can't.
As you said, yeah.
I'm a fatso in my soul. I couldn't. People are like, oh, why don't you try and get ripped? I'm like, why don't you just fucking jump off a bridge and say I could fly? Come on, are you kidding me? ridiculous. It's I tried to say a joke that I'm in training to become a flying squirrel because I'm losing the weight,
Yep.
and I said, but so far I just created a parachute, and I grab my gut and pull it out,
Yeah.
and nobody laughed, and I'm like,
Aw.
that was good. Like,
What?
What's good? What are you talking about?
Well, that's when you guys know is that as soon as you're like, oh, fuck you, and then you just start attacking the crowd, and I'm like, and then they started laughing because like I end my sets and I'm like, well, you guys have been horrible. I had a great time, but you guys should definitely start talking to people because you need therapy. You didn't laugh.
What audience? What was your demographic?
I think that happens when you like make jokes about something that is inherently like pitiable, sort of like when I bring up that I have epilepsy, the first thing that people go, "Oh, no, idiots! I'm gonna like do some jokes about it.
Yeah.
Get that shit out of here."
I feel like you should definitely start saying like I have epilepsy, so if I gain weight, I just start seizing, and then all the calories burn off. Like, that would be funny, but
It's not bad.
it's a start, right? Like that's.
Oh yeah, that's definitely like one of the upsides of having a seizure. I'm like sore for a few days, so it's just like I just did the lap
Your
band.
gym regimen is just getting stressed out enough and not sleeping, so you have a seizure. I would probably do that over the fasting that I've been doing. That's pretty. That's seems efficient. Happens while you sleep. Like, there's no downside. Like, oh, you even got a cool scar from it. Like, man.
God, now I'm thinking about a joke of mine that failed with like a mostly like I think it was like a mostly male audience. And it's a funny joke. Let me just tell you. So I'm really proud of it, and I tell everybody about it now because I think it's the funniest thing. There was this guy that went up who was talking about Leonardo DiCaprio and his dating history of young women, and how he only dated people who were 25 and younger. And so I got up on stage, and before I did my set, I did a little callback to his set. And I said, yeah, that's so crazy about Leonardo DiCaprio only dating 25-year-olds. I don't think it's that weird. Like, I used to only date 25-year-olds, and I was the coolest girl in 7th grade.
Yeah.
And which is
Goddamn.
hilarious.
Yeah, it was very funny. Yeah.
And I did it in front of a group of like an audience of mostly women, and they thought it was really funny. But all the guys were like, oh. And I was like, no, it's because
they're onto us, guys. Yeah.
But that's like dropping an N-bomb, and everyone's like, is there a black person here? I need to know if I'm allowed to laugh, right? That's
all
what it
these
is.
kids that are like, I definitely didn't hit up someone who was under 18 once. I never did that. I'm like, okay, calm down.
It is a funny joke, but also, I would definitely go, I'm not sure if I can allowed to laugh at that
Like,
one.
nobody laughed. I was like, you're all criminals. Like,
That's 100%. You should be happy you left with your life. Like, that's because they were definitely murderers, definitely perverts. That's LA, right? They're all perverts. That's So God, this has been fantastic.
Nina, thank you so much for coming on the show with us.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun. We should do this again or something.
Definitely. Where can people find you and follow you and all that good stuff?
Oh my God. People can follow me on, where am I? Instagram and TikTok with the handle, just my name, NINADICKER. I'm also on Facebook, although I'm not really on Facebook.
Who is really? Yeah.
Just me. Just me talking with people. It's horrible. I got into an argument yesterday. It was great.
Oh dear God. We should talk about that next time.
I just post the Generation Dan episodes and leave again. I don't really.
Yeah, it's for old people. It's fine.
Yeah, right. Okay. I have a website, www.ninadicker.com, and then I have my book on Amazon called Tangerine Vagina.
I really think.
What did you say? Angry Vagina?
Oh, Tangerine Vagina.
Tangerine Vagina. Okay.
Yeah,
it's in her bio on her Instagram. I really feel like you have to not say your name that fast. That may be why you're getting banned everywhere. That's just Nina Dicker. You're like, did what?
I have
2 words
before. I have gotten that comment before, and I'm like, it's Dicker, and they're like, oh no, it's okay you can say it fast. I'm like,
well. Okay. You can find us at Generation Dan on Twitter or Generation_Dan on Instagram. new episodes every week. You can find me at Atlas Novak on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or on YouTube as the Epileptic Comic. And then, or you can check out my other show, Nexus at Night, which is about a trading card game called Vanguard. If you're not into that sort of thing, I don't blame you. Yeah, so that's at Nexus at Night, and then go for it, Dino. Where can they find you?
Dino the Genetic Marvel. Just Google me. I'm the only one. If you're not willing to do that, go fuck yourself. It's very simple. No, listen. I'm already making you laugh. It's the least you could do is Google me, right? So
100%.
that's just a reasonable thing. Nina, please stick around. I'm going to do the outro, and then just so we can talk about some stuff. But anyways, have a great
We'll see
night,
you next
everyone.
time. Bye, everyone.